What the fuck happened to me? Alright, howdy folks. How you doing? It's deedumdim. Your friendly neighborhood guy that's always uploading. Am I right?
Oh, I'm good at my hobby.
Recently I've gotten very into Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm kind of obsessed with it. That's where I've been these last couple of years. And now I'm just gonna make content on it every now and again. Don't expect a consistent upload schedule, because we all know how I am. Today we're gonna be reading a story about a player who joined a game and was then sold as a sex slave, or at least attempted to be. Not that the player was attempting to be sold as another player was trying to sell her character as a sex slave, and she wasn't okay with that, because that's not a good thing. Jesus Christ, this is a fucking disaster. Alright, let's jump into the video. Alrighty, so I recently made a post about the hands down worst campaign I was ever a part of. But after listening to some other RPG horror stories on YouTube, I realized I have a second, smaller story. The story of my very first campaign of a tabletop game. When I was around 19, I was browsing through a comic book store and came across a group of people playing Pathfinder at a table in the back. These people seemed to be having an absolute blast, and I kind of stood there for a bit to see what the game was about. When the DM noticed me, he asked me if I was interested in watching or joining, and invited me to sit in. Having nothing else to do, I watched the game and realized it was pretty much exactly my dream game. An RPG where you can literally do anything you want as long as you're creative and cooperative. So at the end of the session, when the DM again asked if I'd like to join the campaign, I excitedly agreed, and he helped me create my very first character, a human ranger. The next week I showed up, the DM introduced me, and everyone seemed pretty nice. Most of the players were around my age, late teens to early 20s, with an outlier on either end consisting of a woman in her late 40s, we'll call Sandra, and her son, who was 11. So Sandra's the antagonist of this story, and I'm just gonna put it out there, I've literally never met a woman named Sandra who wasn't a fucking cunt. Having this woman at the table actually made me relax, because it meant I wasn't the only woman. And the session started. The party swung by the tavern, my ranger was invited on a quest, and off we went. In this first session, I was trying to make a good impression and only really spoke up when I had a good joke to make in character, or if I was trying to clarify something about the lore, setting, or characters. I'm sure I wasn't amazing, and I had a lot to learn, but I got the impression that everyone was happy with me taking their advice and being mostly quiet. And then the second session happened. We needed to hire a boat to transport us to the next stage of our quest, and the party split up. Me going shopping with about half the party, and Sandra going with the other half to find a boat captain. After all of half a second of greeting the captain, Sandra had her character offer an exchange to the captain. In return for passage to the next area, he could have... And we're gonna insert a drumroll sound effect. I gotta find one of those online, but I'm gonna insert a drumroll sound effect, professionally. My character. There was a moment of silent confusion, and the DM asked her to clarify what she means. And Sandra flat out states to the captain, "Provide us with free, safe passage, and we'll give you our ranger to do with as you please." I'm understandably, I think, a bit miffed. Miffed? A lady offered to sell you as a fucking cumsock to the captain of this boat, so she didn't have to pay, what, 7 silver to get a passage across this canal or some shit? And you're miffed. Understandable. And try to tell her she can't do that, but she pushes for it, and the DM reluctantly has the captain tell Sandra's rogue that he'd have to see my ranger first. Obviously this is a fucking big No on the DM. Fuck you, you stupid idiot. Do better next time. The DM kinda apologetically shrugs at me while I'm trying to communicate with Sandra with gestures that maybe it's not cool to do this, especially in front of her 11-year-old son, but she just kinda grins at me. Skip ahead like 20 minutes and everyone's characters meet up at the tavern. My ranger tries to earn some money by singing and gambling, and Sandra's character chats with the captain, trying to push him and the DM into accepting my openly lesbian ranger as payment for transport. I'm not sure why the DM allowed this. That was both part of the post and was also me. Why did you allow this? Why? You fucking chimp. He was genuinely a great DM most of the time after this, but he allowed her to make persuasion rolls to try and sell my character into sex slavery. By the way, slavery was a part of this campaign, part of my character was trying to fight against. I assume her idea was to have my character kidnapped or knock me out in PvP or something and give me to the captain. I'm not sure exactly. But anyways, the entire time this is going on, I'm out of character trying to convince her to knock it off, with one of the other players chiming in on my behalf while the rest of the table is just kind of giggling, as if this was funny and normal for Sandra. Eventually, my character passes a check to notice what is going on, and berates Sandra's rogue. And even knocks her character off her stool with a thrown object. And the DM uses that as an excuse to have the captain turn her down, saying he's not interested in violent women. I do kind of love that, that was the DM's, out. He was like, oh shit, you threw a cheese wheel at her, knocked her off her stool? That don't jolly my Roger. Again, all of this had been happening with barely concealed euphemisms in front of Sandra's son. After that, we all decided to drop it and move on with the campaign. But every now and then, Sandra would have her character try and either prostitute out my character or sell her outright, although other PCs started telling her off as well. Out of character, no matter how many times I asked her to knock it off, Sandra kept doing this until eventually the campaign ended and we rolled new characters. And with my new character, she never did this again. Really not sure what Sandra's issue was with me. I was quiet, maybe a bit annoying, asking how the game worked and stuff, but she never voiced anything negative. I didn't dress scantily or make lewd jokes, so I really don't get why this happened in the first place. I will say Sandra did calm down during the second campaign, although I couldn't say why. Other than this stuff, the campaign was 100% safe for work and even family friendly. Family friendly? Oh sure. When everything isn't just a PC casually trying to sell another PC into sex slavery in front of an 11-year-old child. Family friendly. That's our motto. I think the best way to sum this up is probably the top comment from a clown and her dolly. What a fucking weird-ass name, dude. Sounds to me like she's an older woman in a game with young men and felt threatened by your presence and wanted to knock you down a peg or something shitty. The fact she did this in front of her own kid is so goddamn sad. Alright, that's all I got. Short, sweet, to the point. This lady nasty. And that DM, his spine was probably made out of some consistency of sponge. So, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.